back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. So glad you could join us. Today, we're really getting into some fascinating material you sent over, specifically one chapter from a book that, honestly, it kind of messes with your head in a good way.
Oh, absolutely. We're zeroing in on Chapter 10 of Dan Ariely's book, Predictably Irrational. You know, the one subtitled The Hidden Forces That Shape Our Decisions.
That's the one. And this chapter, it's got a killer title, The Power of Price, Why a 50-cent aspirin Can Do What a Penny Aspirin Can't. So our plan, our mission for this deep dive, is basically to unpack Aries' main points here.
Right. Look at the experiments he talks about. Some of the findings are genuinely surprising.
Exactly. And sort of understand the bigger picture, like how price does more than just empty your wallet. It can actually change how well something works for you. And we're pulling this all straight from the chapter itself.
Yeah, it really challenges some core assumptions, doesn't it, about value, quality, especially with things like medicine or, performance stuff. It shows how, well, predictably irrational we are.
Okay, let's dive right in. The chapter starts by laying some groundwork talking about the placebo effect. We've all kind of heard of it, but what's the actual deal in this context?
Well, at its core, the placebo effect is it's about belief and expectation. How what you expect to happen can shape not just how you perceive something, but maybe even your actual physical reaction.
So it's more than just thinking you feel better.
Potentially, yes. The word placebo, it comes from Latin I shall please. Apparently, it was first used for, professional mourners, people paid to, grieve loudly at funerals.
Seriously, fake crying.
Yeah, something like that. Then later it got applied to medical things that were given more to kind of humor the patient than for any, real known biological reason.
Okay, so it started a bit like putting on a show, but evolved.
Exactly. And the really key thing here is that it's not just some psychological trick. It shows the mind has this very real power over the body. It can change subjective feelings, my pain feels less, but maybe even objective measurable things too.
Right, that's the bit that's hard to wrap your head around. How does the mind actually do that?
So the chapter points to two main mechanisms, basically. First is just belief, simple faith. Like your confidence in the medicine itself, or maybe in the doctor giving it to you, even just the reassurance, the attention you get.
So if you really trust the process, that trust itself becomes like an active ingredient.
Precisely. The doctor's own enthusiasm can even boost the effect. The second mechanism is conditioning. This is more like Pavlov's dogs. Your body learns to associate things.
Like seeing a specific brand makes you think of quality.
Sort of, but more physiological. Ariely shares this really intense personal story from when he was in a burn unit. Horrible pain. He found that just seeing the nurse coming toward him with a needle, before she even gave him the painkiller shot, his brain would start releasing its own natural painkillers, like opioids. His body learned the routine, the visual cue, and anticipated relief.
Wow, that's powerful. It shows how physical it can be. And the book then goes into the history a bit, showing this isn't exactly new.
Oh, not at all. There's this example of Gerby's worm secretions for toothaches back in the 18th century. Apparently, 68% of people said they got relief for a whole year.
Worm secretions. Seriously.
Yeah. And other weird stuff from the past. Eye of toad, dried fox lungs, mercury. Even ground-up Egyptian mummies were sold as medicine way longer than you'd think. The suggestion, the belief, was often the main thing working.
It's easy to laugh, but the chapter makes the point that this stuff still happens. Placebos show up in modern medicine too, right? Sometimes where you wouldn't expect.
That's one of the really provocative bits. Take this procedure from the 1950s for chest pain, internal mammary artery ligation, tying off an artery. Sounded technical, people felt better.
Okay.
But then a doctor, Leonard Cobb, did a trial. Some patients got the real surgery, others got a sham surgery, just the cuts, nothing actually done to the artery.
Don't tell me.
Yeah, pretty much the same short-term relief reported by both groups, lasted about 3 months. But objectively, looking at EKGs, no difference. The fake surgery worked just as well subjectively.
That must have caused a stir.
Huge controversy. And there's another big one mentioned, Dr. Mosley's study on knee surgery for osteoarthritis in 2002, arthroscopic surgery. 3 groups, full surgery, just washing out the joint, or a completely simulated surgery.
Let me guess, the simulation group did just as well.
You got it. Over 2 years, all 3 groups reported basically the same improvement in pain and function. Walking, climbing stairs. The fake surgery was just as good as the real thing. Really highlights how much expectation matters.
And it happens in smaller ways too, like doctors giving antibiotics for viruses, knowing it won't work biologically, but...
But the patient expects something, they believe medication helps, so receiving it, even if it's technically the wrong kind, fulfills that expectation and can make them feel better. The chapter says doctors can feel, a bit weird about it being science-based.
Right. Okay, so this sets the stage for the chapter's main argument, connecting this whole placebo idea to, well, price. We all kind of assume more expensive means better quality, right? For couches, jeans, whatever.
Definitely. It's almost automatic. Higher price tag must be higher quality.
But the big question airily asks is, does that assumption carry over to how things actually work? Like, does paying more for an aspirin literally make it relieve your headache better? Or does a pricey energy drink give you more actual energy?
And that's what they decided to test. It was some pretty clever experiments, actually.
Okay, tell us about the first one, the Velladone RX study. Sounds fancy.
Yeah, this was at MIT. They gave people mild electric shocks to measure their pain. Then they gave them a capsule, described it as Velladone RX, a brand new opioid painkiller supposed to cost $2.50 a dose.
Okay, high-tech, high price.
Right, and they gave them this official-looking brochure saying it worked great, fast relief for over 90% of people. Big buildup.
But it wasn't really Velladone RX.
Nope. Pure vitamin C, just a placebo, but framed as expensive and effective.
And did people feel less pain?
Oh, yeah. Almost everyone who got the $2.50 Velladone reported significantly less pain from the next round of shocks. Classic placebo effect driven by the high expectation.
Okay, but the chapter title mentions the price difference.
Exactly. So, the crucial part, they ran it again. Same setup, same vitamin C pill. But this time, they told participants the price was heavily discounted, just 10 cents a pill.
Same pill, different price tag. What happened?
The effect basically got cut in half. With the 10-cent pill, only about half the people reported pain relief.
Wait, seriously? Just changing the stated price of a sugar pill changed how much pain people felt?
That's what the results showed. It's wild, isn't it? The price itself seemed to set an expectation that directly influenced their physical experience of pain. You get what you pay for, or rather what you expect to get based on what you pay.
That's incredible. And they found similar things elsewhere.
Yeah, maybe less dramatic, but consistent. A survey mentioned found students who paid full price for cold meds said they worked better than students who bought the same meds on discount. Price influencing perceived effectiveness again.
Okay, what about something non-medical, like that energy drink example? Sobe Adrenaline Rush.
Right. Marketed to elevate your game, you know the drill.
Yeah.
They tested it at a gym.
And price played a role there, too.
In one part, students exercised, then rated their fatigue. People who drank Sobe, bought at full price, reported feeling less tired than people who drank the exact same Sobe but got it at a discount, like a third of the price. Subjective feeling, tied to price.
Okay, but then they tested objective stuff, right? Like mental tasks, anagrams. That's where it got really weird, according to the outline.
It did. This is fascinating. They had a baseline group solve anagrams, averaged about 9 out of 15 correct.
All right.
Then some students drank the Sobe. The group who paid full price for the Sobe, they also averaged about 9 correct. So the drink itself at full price didn't actually boost their performance compared to baseline.
Right. No real effect from the drink itself.
The group who got the Sobe at the discounted price, they only averaged 6.5 correct anagrams.
Hold on. They paid less and did worse than people who drank nothing at all.
Significantly worse. It's like the discount created this expectation of lower quality or lower effectiveness that actually hurt their objective performance on the anagram task. A big performance gap just based on price perception.
That is just deeply counterintuitive. Expectation didn't just fail to help, it actively harmed performance.
Exactly. And then they layered on one more thing. They added a priming message to the quiz booklet. Basically, some hype saying Sobe was backed by 50 scientific studies for mental benefits.
Building expectation even more.
Right. And what happened? Well, adding that hype did improve scores for both groups compared to groups without the message, but the combination was powerful. The discount group with the hype message only improved it a little bit, like 0.6 questions better.
Okay.
But the full price group with the hype message, they improved by a whopping 3.3 questions over the baseline.
So hype helps a bit on its own, but hype plus the confidence that comes from paying full price.
Yeah.
That's the magic formula for boosting actual performance.
It really seems that way. The perceived value, driven by both the marketing and the price tag, translated into a measurable difference in how well people did.
Man. So, knowing all this, are we just stuck? Are we puppets of pricing and marketing forever? Can we fight back against this effect?
Well, the chapter does offer a little ray of hope. They tried prompting people to consciously stop and think about the link between price and quality before they drank the Sobe.
So taking a moment to reflect.
Yeah. And when people did that, they were less likely to automatically assume the discounted drink was weaker. And crucially, their anagram scores didn't drop like the other discount group.
Ah, so making the unconscious conscious can break the spell, maybe?
It seems like it might help, yeah. It suggests that the negative discount effect is maybe an automatic gut reaction, and thinking about it rationally can buffer against it.
This stuff raises some really difficult questions, doesn't it? Ethical dilemmas, you could say. If placebos work, especially when boosted by price or hype, should we use them?
It's super complex. Like, should doctors prescribe something they know is just a placebo if they believe their own enthusiasm, plus the patient's belief, might actually help the patient feel better or even improve physically? The chapter notes how uncomfortable this makes doctors trained in hard science.
And what about healthcare costs?
Mm.
America already spends a ton.
Mm.
Are we paying premium prices for brand name drugs when generics are biologically identical just because the higher price makes us experience them as better?
It's a massive issue. How do you price drugs? How do you handle copays? How do you get cheaper medicine to people who need it without accidentally making it less effective for them because of this very price placebo effect? There are no easy answers presented, just highlighting the problem.
It's the same for marketing, right? Is it okay to hype a product to create perceived value if that perception then actually creates a better experience for the consumer via placebo? Where's the line between good marketing and white?
Yeah.
Well, lying.
It really blurs those lines between subjective feelings and objective outcomes. And then there's the ethics of the experiments themselves. People got upset about those sham surgeries. Is it right to do fake operations or withhold treatment for research?
Yeah, instinctively it feels wrong.
It does, but Airlie makes this really powerful counterpoint using his own story. About the job suit, it's this compression garment for burn survivors, meant to manage scarring.
Right, you mentioned his burn experience. So this suit was supposed to be a high-tech fix.
Exactly. It was presented that way, custom-made, expensive. Doctors raved about it. He built up huge hopes. Describes imagining it like a Spider-Man suit, something that would magically heal him, make the scars disappear, supposed to apply pressure, massage the skin.
But the reality wasn't like that.
No. He describes it as agony. Putting it on felt like rough canvas, tearing his incredibly fragile new skin. It was hot, itchy, didn't fit right at first. Just months and months of suffering, all based on this promise of effectiveness.
Oh, man. And did it work? Did it help the scars?
In his experience, no. He says the areas covered by the suit look no different from the areas that weren't covered. All that pain, all that hope, all that effort, for nothing in his case.
It's incredibly sad. And powerful.
It really is. And he uses it to say, look, yes, it's ethically hard to test things like placebo suits on vulnerable patients, but it's also ethically hard to put people through painful, expensive, difficult treatments for years without really solid proof they actually work better than nothing, or better than just expectation. His suffering and the potential suffering of others using unproven treatments, that's the cost of not doing the rigorous testing.
The cost of not knowing can be immense suffering, too. It makes the case for needing that evidence, even if getting it is complicated.
Definitely grounds the whole discussion in something very real, very human.
So wrapping up this deep dive into Airlie's chapter, the big takeaway seems to be just how potent our minds are. Our expectations, shaped by things like price, marketing, the doctor's manner,
Yeah.
they don't just color our perception, they can actually change our physical experience, our performance, our well-being.
Yeah, it really smudges the line between what's in your head and what's real. The mind-body connection is incredibly complex and easily influenced.
Which leads us to the final thought we want to leave you with today. Think about your own life. How might your expectations, maybe ones you didn't even realize you had, shaped by price or advertising, be influencing how you experience things right now? Products you use, services you get, maybe even health treatments.
Yeah, and knowing this power of expectation, is there anything you might do differently or just be more aware of?
Definitely something to chew on. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. Exploring this whole idea of predictable irrationality, especially through price, has been pretty eye-opening.
My pleasure. It's the kind of stuff that really sticks with you, I think.
Absolutely. We'll be back next time digging into another fascinating topic, pulling out the key insights for you. Until then, keep questioning those hidden forces.